In this concluding section, I would like to recap the main points of the three different approaches to the human right to water and sanitation that we've been discussing. The technical approach by the United Nations, the political approach of social movements, and the managerial approach by the private sector. Of course, first of all, it's important to recall that these three approaches should be considered as ideal types. Of course, the reality is much more complex and articulated, but I think it's important through these three ideal types to emphasize the different elements that contribute to characterize different approaches to the human right to water and sanitation. Which are those elements? First of all, how the problem of access to water is framed. Could be lack of infrastructure, lack of political participation, or lack of efficient management. Second, who are the right holders? How are they portrayed? Are there individuals, the beneficiary? Are they individuals or collective? Are they actively engaged or passively receiving recipients of solutions? Third, what kind of solutions are promoted to implement the human right to water sanitation, and to which domain these solutions pertain? Are they technical, political, managerial, and so on? And finally, who is legitimized to act, to take action? Are the citizens themselves, or rather experts, or private actors and private operators? So why this is important? Here the point that I would like to make is that the way the human right to water is conceptualized has practical consequence and influence on the way the right and equity in its enjoyment are promoted and supported. Particular conceptualization of the right to water legitimizes specific political projects and specific actions. I think we have seen it throughout the three different sections. First, we have looked at the UN approach to the human right to water, a rather technical approach in the context of the new Agenda of Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals. Here the right holders are portrayed as the most vulnerable, the poorest, mainly visualized as African children or women. And in this respect, of course, equity is at the very core of the narrative of the approach of the UN, but equity is mainly framed as an issue of measurements, something that can be measured through technical independent indicators, which focus on infrastructure and supplies, and the main action is taken by the technicians. Then, secondly, we've seen the political approach by different social movements. Here, in the context of social struggles, social and political struggles against the privatization of water services. Here the approach is moral and political, against the commodification of water, and in broader sense against the commodification of life. The main right holder is the citizen, which is actively and collectively participating to decision making and to the management of water resources. So equity becomes an issue of political participation, and the focus is on not on technical solutions, but rather on water governance frameworks and institutions with the human right to water closely linked to the idea of water as a common good, and as a public service. Thirdly, we've seen the managerial approach promoted by the private sector, and where the right holder is identified mainly as a customer. So the main problem here is efficiency, and even equity is framed as an issue of efficiency. Therefore, the solutions are technical, managerial solutions delivered by the service provider to a right holder, which is in the end a customer. I think that if we look at these three different ideal types, I think we came to the last point, and the main, which is also the main message that this sub-module would like to convey. The idea that the human right to water and sanitation, as most of human rights, is a contested notion, a contested idea. Of course, and in this respect, the debate around the meaning of the right to water, around the content of the right to water, around the right holders, who are them, and around about the solution to implement this right, is not just a conceptual, theoretical, or a legal exercise. On the contrary, I think the submodule has shown us the practical and the political implications and dimension of this exercise. Again, I would like to stress the fact that the particular conceptualization of the right to water imply and legitimize specific political projects. Therefore, acknowledging the contested nature of the human right to water and sanitation requires constant interrogation and critical assessment of the different narratives and practices which are related and legitimized by reference to this right. Thank you.